Welcome. It's the Single African Market Program, the program dedicated at bringing you all the actions around the journey of the continent of Africa to integrate its market. And this week, we are dedicating the program to innovation, science, and research. And that's because we need to grow the manufacturing base of the economy of Africa. And we can never do that without science, research, as well as innovation. And if you recall, the last episode of the Single African Market Program, the AUDA, NEPAD, as well as the Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport and the AfCFTA National Coordination Office had the first meeting on the Center of Excellence. And the issue of research, innovation, and science was critical. Take a listen. Science, research, and innovation remain the foundation of manufacturing and industrialization base in every developed economy. This is why the African Union Development Agency, AUDA, held its first meeting of the AUDA-NEPAD Center of Excellence at the Council for Industrial Research, CSIR, which seeks to bring together government, private business sectors and scientific, research and development community through partnership with the AfCFTA National Coordination Office and Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport.
This meeting at the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, CSIR, a well-renowned scientific institution whose primary objective is to foster practical science-based innovations for industrial growth and development, is a significant occurrence and not a coincidence. It is about harnessing and continuous scaling up of African innovation through African science, knowledge and information by bridging the gap between research and industry.
The hosting of the CSIR is obviously not a coincidence. It's quite significant that this meeting is holding in one of Africa's renowned centers of excellence when it comes to research, practical research.
The institutions are of firm belief that science, research, and innovation will boost manufacturing and promote trade on the continent of Africa.
One of the key flagships of the Agenda 2063 is the establishment of the AfCFTA, with a strong emphasis on rapid manufacturing and industrialization for Africa to fully benefit from its own mineral resources and other natural resources.
We therefore view this initiative as crucial in bringing into dialogue, 1, the public government sector, 2, the business private, and 3, research and development, scientific community for innovation to accelerate industrial development.
So if we are going to have a proper manufacturing base, if we are going to have industries, definitely science is important, definitely research is key, definitely innovation is significant in growing the economy of the continent of Africa, as you may have heard in that particular sounds and over there by the experts. So we decided to dedicate this week to science, innovation, and research, and went all the way to the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, particularly at the Water Research Institute, to speak to the director there over what at all that they have been doing and putting together as far as the vision to capture the rest of the African market is concerned, and how prepared is the scientific community in Ghana when it comes to taking advantage of the continental market. To what extent is a research institution like the Water Research Institute is preparing the manufacturing base of Ghana, for instance, to take advantage of the continental market that we are seeing, so that one day we want to see some products that are coming from Ghana, value added to it, and then sent to Liberia, sent to Nigeria, sent to Guinea, sent to Gambia, South Africa, and all of that.
Our Ghana market is quite small, so the opportunity to export things outside the borders of the country open us the opportunity for businesses and other stuff to progress. And for us as research institutions, CSIR, one of our major missions is to use science, technology, innovation for wealth creation for the development of the nation. So because of that, we carry out various research activities, and out of that we have various research outputs and findings. Now, some of our output lead to development of various technologies. Sometimes we lead to development of strategies that will help develop various products for the development of the economy. Now, for instance, in CSIR-Water Research Institute, our mandate is to research into various aspects of water resources, and that include both the living and non-living, in order to provide scientific and technological information, services, strategies for sustainable development of our utilization and management of our water resources. Now, within that context, there's a lot of products that we develop within this mandate. So, for instance, one of the things that we do, in fact, Water Research have about 6 different departments, but one that I will highlight first is the groundwater division. And in fact, their main mandate is to look at developing various water resources, to develop technology, to process various water products, and also to disseminate the necessary information. We do exploration of groundwater in order to look at what are the quantities of water, what are the qualities of water, where there are problems with the qualities, what can we do in order to treat it to make it more wholesome. And you know, this feeds into the SDG 6, now having a good water. One of the things that we have done so far in terms of the water, we help with the groundwater exploration. We look at drilling, geophysical examination to look at the availability of water in the area where people want to abstract water. And then once we do that, we give actually guidance. Once we locate the position where there's water is, because it's not every place that you have water. And even within that, we also look at the premise in terms of the quality of the water. And then we are able to mechanize this water in order for people to have water in their homes. We are able to do that. And also to ensure that we do water also for agriculture, water for human consumption, quality water for human consumption. And now looking at the water for human consumption, that's where we have one of our products. And I think it's called Seku, and I think you can see it here. Nankesi, that is where we have this company, Nankesi, in the Suhum area. So this mineral water is a CSIR mineral water, bottled water. And that's why you can see the logo here.
Yeah,
that
so
you can see.
CSIR Seku.
Yeah.
You've added value to water.
Yes, we added value to water. So now, looking at we able to explore groundwater, to abstract the water and treat it and then use it for bottling as a mineral water. That's one of the areas that we have added good quality value to it. Now currently, CSIR-Water Research Institute is partnered with a company that is called Moose. Now with this company, they've identified Liberia as one. This company actually do a lot of businesses outside West Africa. So we decided to partner with them and then look at some of the areas in Liberia, that's currently where it's working, areas in Liberia where they need bottled water as a good source. And most of them, they do actually not have that. Most of them, they have to import. So together with them, we are partnered with this Moose company and University of Liberia, and then also a financier. And now CSIR is going to lead in the exploration of groundwater, look at the drilling of the groundwater, do geophysical examination, and then also we look at abstracting the water. And after that, we are going to lead in the entire process of bottling the water for commercial value. And this sort, I think the University of Liberia have seen that that's an area they can make money. So we also have one of our departments is actually agriculture development. That is using the various fishes that are already in the water and seeing how you can domesticate them or culture it instead of it growing in the wild, in the river. We want to see how best we can grow it outside the river so that we can multiply it. And I think you may be aware that our capture fishes are reducing significantly. And that's why there are some times where there's complete ban. So they don't even fish at all.
So when you say capture fishes, what do you mean?
So capture fish means that you need, very simple example, that you need to go into the boat, cast your net, and then collect fish from either the sea or from the rivers and all other things. And because we are over-exploiting, the numbers are decreasing considerably. We actually do aquaculture, where you can actually farm the fish, like we are doing agriculture, or we are doing snail farming and stuff like that. So what we are, and to do that, the most important thing is to look at the local fish that we have, take it through a breeding process, and enhance, do a selection so that we'll be able to get increased production and also quick yield. So this is one of the value that we have added. Something when it is in the wild will take about 8 months. Now we bring it, take about 5 months or 6 months to grow. And also the size become bigger than what is already in the wild. First, we produce the fingerlings. And one of the, what I'll say, is the tilapia, which we are all eating every day. Now, I must say that a lot of the tilapia we eat is more likely that the fingerlings is coming from CSIR. So the area that now we are trying to develop with this same moose, the company, is that we need to look at other countries, because this expertise is not in other countries. So what we discuss with them is that we want to move this and see how we can touch base with other countries in Africa that are currently not doing well in aquaculture systems. So we can set the system up, go into partnership with people in various countries. And I think one of the things, since we're already developing business with Liberia, we can also look at it from that angle. We have aqua, we can get maybe some of the investors or some of the business people in Liberia or other countries who are interested in developing aquaculture systems. Now, once we get people like that, we'll partner with them, we'll set up this business over there.
Have you begun assessing the market itself, look at other countries, Eastern African countries, Southern African countries, the Central African countries, aside even West Africa, that you can take advantage of?
As you are aware, we are research institutions, okay? And one of the good aspects of for us is that we need to develop the technology and work with the private sector in order to carry it. Otherwise, so we are supposed to develop it, and then we partner with the private sector
to then market it.
Exactly. So we don't have to do everything. Otherwise, we cannot focus. So
that's
you're
why, part of the value chain.
Exactly. So that's why we identify companies like Moose, and we're going to look at other companies. So first, we are looking at the water. Now we're going to look at the tilapia. And then we can look at catfish, which Nigerians and other people love it most. As we make progress in this area, we're going to work with some private sector, private business companies, and together with investors, so that we can take advantage to such emerging market situation and expanding the market size for Ghana.
Are there other industries, other companies that are approaching you to see how best you can also assist them to build some research base for raw materials that they can add value to, and then be able to also export on the continent?
Okay. In fact, Dangote, you know, he has a lot of businesses, some of the sugar production. And you know, sugar, when you talk about sugar, you are talking about water. Okay, because you need available water in excess quantities to be able to
grow the sugar.
What's happened is that you want to do it both in dry season and in wet season. So that is why our expertise as a Water Research Institute, because we are able to abstract water from the ground and from the surface. And that is in terms of exploring water for agriculture. So what currently we are doing, that Dangote business want to look at production of sugarcane, and also look at water sources of water to ensure that there's continuous irrigation.
Any other opportunities you are creating, particularly out of the recent COVID pandemic that we had? Are there emerging manufacturing opportunities that you are seeing from this?
CSIR has been involved in the COVID tests. I mean, right in the beginning, we're working together with like Noguchi, KCCR, and other government institutions and even private institutions. So currently we have a COVID lab, not only on COVID, but other infectious diseases lab. So currently we have something that we call, this is an offspring from the COVID lab that we have. So we call molecular environmental surveillance. Now what we're doing in that area is to look at wastewater as a resource for diagnosing diseases. And then on top of that, we look at the environmental and other things. So what is happening now is that we can look at our wastewater systems within our country. So if you look at even this institute that we are in, the other sources of waste, when there's treatment of our waste, it goes through certain channels. Now, when we have our waste going through these channels, we are able to we have developed a system where you'll be able to pick sample of the wastewater, or treated or untreated wastewater. Once we pick it, we are able to process it to identify any organism within it. So as at now, we have developed a concept, a proof of concept, and that we're able to look at wastewater in areas where there is COVID, and we're able to identify the presence of the COVID virus in the wastewater. And in the COVID center, what we identify is that most of the wastewater system actually had COVID, because that's where their feces and everything goes through for treatment. So it had COVID. And you could see there's a high correlation between humans who are infected with COVID and the waste treatment system that we assess sample.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, now.
Because a lot of us never thought about, so if you are those who are infected with COVID, what happens to their waste products, for instance, and where is it going, and whether those are also affected by...
Now, going beyond this, we said that there's a lot of organisms that you can actually detect in the waste. Even if you go to the gutters, you can pick water sample. You go to rivers and everywhere, you can pick the water sample, any environmental sample, and then you can extract other DNA or RNA from these water samples. And then it will help you to determine the presence of most infectious pathogens, so like cholera, typhoid, typhi, and most of the bacteria and most of the viruses and parasites. You'll be able to identify them when you pick the wastewater. And I believe that with this kind of expertise, we can use it to look at our various borders. Okay, in fact, even I believe that with the ease of restriction, we can take airport, for example. Now, when people come and they are vaccinated, they don't need to do the, what do you call it, COVID tests. Okay. Now, in the aircraft, people pull within the aircraft. So we can take sample when the planes arrive. We can take sample of the waste, and then the human waste, and then test it and see if there are people infected in the aircraft or not. Now, when we are able to detect, and then depending upon the frequency of the detection in various aircraft, then it gives us an early warning sign that we must be careful. Currently, we are working on a grant that want to use Ghana as a hub for wastewater surveillance system, because this technology, even though it is in existence, but in terms of West Africa, not many West African countries are deploying this kind of technology. So this grant we are working on is trying to help us get to invite other sister countries like Ivory Coast, what do you call it, Burkina Faso, and other places who are currently not deploying this technology. So we want to bring them here and also train them so that they will also know this technology. And the good thing is that we then have to kind of export
this technology to
exactly, and also export human resources to train them.
Knowledge transfer.
Exactly, knowledge transfer. So developing this technology will lead to knowledge transfer and also building other business, because once they go there, then it's a diagnostic a tool that have already been developed, and then they can use it for their monitoring of their health system. And actually will also serve as, can also work for the private sector, and we can get money out of them.
How do you think that a continental policy of the nature of the AfCFTA that's opening up the continental market will be able to facilitate all these plans that you have? How will it build your capacity? How will it enable you push out there and take advantage of the bigger market?
It gives a foretaste of what can come if we are able to develop our science, technology, and innovation. Because once now we are trying this and we are breaking fronts in terms of moving from Ghana to other countries, I believe that other science and technology institutions will see the benefits of exploring, of deploying science and technology for wealth creation. And the good thing is that once this goes on, it will also create businesses. I think we now need to do more. How we can harness all these things that we have to create more businesses. And these businesses, when we create them, we need to make sure that it does not stay within the borders of Ghana, but goes beyond them.
I've seen samples of your even sanitizers and all of that. Within the COVID period, the heated period, there were a lot of calls for African scientists to be able to take the bull by the horn, come up with a lot of research, bring some of these products. We shouldn't run out of sanitizers and all of that. Having a bigger market, having a wider frontier to operate as a scientist, how do you think you will be able to capitalize on this larger market on the continent to explore?
I have something that I call deploying expertise of the scientists beyond even your area of research. And I think that's why in the midst of COVID, when there was so much need for hand sanitizer, I told my chemists and I told my scientists that even though we do not work as a company that produces hand sanitizer, let's deploy the expertise we have in developing hand sanitizers. And in fact, it was so amazing that the quantities of hand sanitizers that we were able to manufacture and we are able to sell into the market.
And they sold well on the market.
Yeah, it sold very well on the market. So in fact, what I see going forward is that for us as scientists, we then need to think beyond the box and then look at developing more technologies, moving into more innovation. And I think every country that can develop will depend on your ability to develop technologies, your ability to bring innovations into the country, and then take advantage of the world market as a whole, because there are a lot of technologies that when we deploy, we'll be able to obtain a bigger market and go beyond our country.
What opportunities do you see for the Ghanaian scientist, the African scientist, now that we have a continental market open for everyone?
We should be able to think business, have business minds. Now, we have done research to solve various problems, but we need to look at using research for wealth creation. So we need to study the markets, our local market and the African market, and see where are the gaps. Now, once we are able to identify the gaps in the market, then we track back and look at what are the innovations that we need to develop. What are some of the technologies that we need to develop in order to develop product out of our, because once we do our technology, we need to deploy the technology and see how it will benefit humanity, and also how we can use it to create business opportunity. So it's a matter of exploring. And I think most of the time, scientists, we have not been business minded. And I think looking at this opening in Africa, we need to take advantage of the business, think more out of the box of our labs, and then look at the opportunities that we may have, look at the gaps that we have, and then develop the technologies, and then team up with the private sector. So currently, we actually are collaborating with other African institutions. There's a project that we have developed together, and that involves Rwanda, Ivory Coast, we have Cameroon, we have South Africa, we have Egypt, all involved in this project. And I think that going forward, multi-country and multidisciplinary research activity is going to be even heightened, because in that we bring all our knowledge, our expertise, and our experiences to board. And then we learn from each other. And then when you do that, it also helps our developing our expertise even within our country, because we are learning from each other. So we will impact other countries in terms of the expertise and experience we have, and other people will also impact on us. So we'll learn from each other, and then we broaden our scope and our ability to solve the problems of our continent, both in terms of diseases, in terms of businesses, in terms of developing any other resources that we need to enhance the growth and development of our country.
Science, research, innovation, very, very key, as you have heard there. We will continue to engage the experts in these areas to let you know and let you in on all the things that have been done as far as their areas of operations when it comes to the AfCFTA is concerned. So as I have hinted before, regardless of the sector that you find yourself, the AfCFTA will be affecting all facets of the economy, of the development of people on the continent of Africa. So prepare yourself regardless of where you find yourself, and be able to take advantage of the AfCFTA. In the past week, as well as in the coming weeks, quite a number of events and activities have been taking place around the vision of the continent of Africa to integrate its market. The Borderless Alliance had their 9th annual conference in Abidjan, La Côte d'Ivoire in the past week. And also in the coming week, the Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport will be having the Africa Forum here at the commercial capital of Africa. So the weather report, as well as the flight schedules and the forex rates for African market and the AfCFTA status for member countries, next on your screens. So Africa has a vision to create one market for its people, and that vision is coming to fruition. It is important that you understand this whole vision and take advantage of it so that you can be impacted by it positively. I urge you to continue to tag along and learn a lot more about this vision. Thanks for watching. I'll see you same time next week.
In the name of great Africa, is the fight and conquer now. Forever, in the name of great Africa, there is victory. Forever, in the name of great Africa.